Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us for She Conversations. I'm Tanya Myers,
And I'm Ashley.
and we're your co hosts for this evening. First, Ashley, I think we should start off by thanking our viewers. We made it to our second season.
Right? I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
yeah. So we wanted to take the opportunity to thank all of those that kind of went through the journey with us last season. Of course, we were new to podcasting. Um, and we had some ups and downs, but we wanted to thank everybody that tuned into our YouTube channel as well as our social media in support of our podcast and our organization. We also wanted to thank those that are just our followers, people that support our mission, people that regularly participate or interact or engage on our social platforms. And we wanted to thank our persons that participated in the podcast, like our visitors,
Hmm.
those that came and shared their expertise as well as shared their own stories. We wanted to thank you guys first before we did anything. Ashley, I didn't know if you had anything that you wanted to share.
Of course, the biggest thing are funders. This podcast was funded by the Win Grant, which is through the AIDS Institute. So without this funding, we wouldn't have been able to provide you guys or do 6 episodes. So we want to thank them, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important. I should have said that as well. Um, but for those that may be new, I'm sure we have some newbies, people that are unfamiliar with shaping health equity or she conversations. So maybe we should take a little bit of time and talk about our organization, just very briefly, because I know we have a full episode planned for this afternoon, but maybe we should take some time to start there.
So, we want to encourage people to visit our website, www.shapinghealthequity.org, just to learn all about our organization. We even have some pictures from previous events.
Hmm.
You can find information about our podcast. And we're going to start updating it with like upcoming events so people can stay connected. But our organization, we're all about advancing health equity for Black women and girls. And so we do that by providing access to quality health care and health education, as well as creating opportunities for economic security and advocating for community led systems that will change. So we have a lot of activities that, fall into those 3 buckets. So again, please check out our website just to learn more about our services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to tell them a little bit about our podcast, as I was saying, last year was our first season. So this is our second season. And ultimately, the goal is just to give like information out to the community to support women's health. We know that there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of stigma, a whole lot of everything that's kind of going on within the community. But we want to be a platform where we can provide accurate, on time information that's uplifting, encouraging, and that can provide support to the community. Last year, we had a number of different episodes. We talked about mental health, we talked about self love. We had some of our participants from our projects that came on and kind of shared their stories as well as their experience within our projects. We had an episode that went over like HIV 101 and talking about sexual health and awareness. We had an episode that talked about like home ownership or I'm probably, what exactly
Hmm.
was the title? It was about home
Hmm.
ownership. Um, we had one about relationships. Am I forgetting
Did you
anything?
say the imposter syndrome? Did you already
I
mention that?
think I said mental health, but yeah,
Okay.
to be specific, we talked about the imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
So,
I think that was all of them. Yeah, I think that was
yeah,
all of
I think so. But yeah, overall, it was a good experience.
them.
We received a lot of feedback from the people that kind of
Hmm.
watched the episodes, some things that we could do a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, the content came from a good place, and like I said, it was information that we wanted to share to kind of uplift and
Yeah.
encourage.
Yeah, and we appreciate the feedback because the group that we engaged, they were honest with us, like brutally honest as far as like what we need to do better, and we receive it, and so we're definitely going to work on that for this season. So we definitely appreciate them not just saying, "Oh yeah, you guys did a good job, it was great." No, tell us the truth, and they did that, so that was helpful. So, um, I am looking forward to season 2, and we have a lot of great topics that we're going to cover. And of course, these topics, we didn't just come up with them ourselves. We had a focus group of women, Black women from the community. And so we asked them, like, what are some things we should discuss on our podcast? And so I don't want to share or spoil what we have planned, but just know we have a lot of good content that we're going to share. And so we're really excited about it, and we hope you are too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not to use too much of the time because we do have an excellent person that's going to be with us for the second segment. We have Miss Sophia that's going to be with us from So Fit for You Wellness. And she's going to share with us about holistic care. We're going to talk a little bit about mental health and self love and all of that. But she's an expert in her own right, and we're so excited to have her here with you. So that's just, I don't want to do a tease. Well, that's a teaser, I should say. I don't want to spoil it because she's definitely going to share some information with you, some some things that I really think that you can benefit from. But I guess to kind of turn the page a little bit, to kind of bring us around to our topic for today. Um, as I shared, we're going to talk about like mental health and self love, as well as like holistic care. So I guess I should ask, or I should say, when I'm thinking about mental health as well as our physical health, um, I see them as both being connected.
Mm-hmm.
Do you as
Yeah,
well?
absolutely.
Yeah, I see our mental health and our physical health being kind of connected. I think that's why they call it like mind, body, and spirit,
Mm-hmm.
because there is that connection there. So if you're off kind of mentally, it tends to have an effect on your physical,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I know for me, I guess being transparent, like there's times when I'm actually looking in the mirror, and we talked about this last season,
Mm-hmm.
like that negative self-talk, like looking at myself, and the only thing I see is the imperfections. Be like, wow, look at that, or you need to do more of that. And of course that plays a part on my mental health,
Mm-hmm.
right? That negative self-talk. So but in some instances, it does a little bit to boost the physical side. It makes me want to be more active,
Mm-hmm.
be more engaged because I know that I have some problem areas that I could fix. So
Now what you touching on?
yeah, yeah. So it's that balancing act, but it all is kind of tied together.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I totally agree because I know for me, and I know it's Stress Awareness Month, I
hmm
believe, but for me, when I get really stressed out, I mean, of course, mentally, I get tired, I get frustrated, but then physically, I can feel it because my neck and my shoulders get really tense, and I know at that point it's bad. And there's been times where I don't think I'm stressed, but again, because I can feel it physically down the back of my neck, I'm like, all right, Ashley, it's time to just like take a step back, regroup. Like, what is making you stress? And like, what can you do to kind of like decompress? Because, stress will kill you. And I'm
hmm
not trying to die
hmm
at this ripe age of 21. And
Girl, please,
in my mind,
girl.
it's too soon. So, you're right. Like your mental health and your physical health are very much connected.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. So, in thinking of that or in touching on that, like some different ways
Mm-hmm.
that we kind of um, deal with like our mental health and our physical health. like things outside of exercises. You said that sometimes you take like a step back
Mhm.
just to kind of regroup. I know for myself, I have some outlets, some things that I enjoy that when things become too stressful, that I tend to try to dive more into those things,
Right.
whether it's reading, whether it's my hobbies. One of my hobbies is riding my bike.
Mhm.
So I definitely put some time there, some extra energy there into riding my bike.
Yeah.
Um, any other things you do for like self care or?
Like I really recently, as in probably like a year or two ago, I got into hiking. So I've been finding like little, not little groups, but there's a lot of groups around like Baltimore, around DC, black women who hike together. So that
Mhm.
was always a good thing. Like I mentioned to you before we started, I'm in the gym more. I've been lifting a lot more, so that has helped a lot. And I do a lot of other things, just traveling. I think it's important when you work so much that you take advantage of vacation.
Mhm.
I don't care if, you're just going to Virginia for the weekend. Like it's important for you to just take time away and just, if it's a staycation, like I said, if you're going to Virginia or if you're going to Jamaica, just being able to travel or just kind of get outside of like your normal like day-to-day routine or what you're used to seeing. So I do a lot of that, or I try to at least, and I want to
Mhm.
do more of that.
Yeah, me too. I love to travel. I think another thing that I've been trying to be more mindful about is just getting more sleep.
Oh
I know
yeah.
for me, I have a bad habit of, I guess, when I'm preparing to go to sleep, having my phone in my hand and I'm
Mhm.
scrolling. And sometimes I get caught up and I start looking at something. Before you know, time done already got away from me
Mhm.
and it's late. So just being more intentional with
Yeah.
trying to get more sleep.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's hard,
Hmm.
especially like you said, you'll lay down, you can get into bed early and
Yep.
you'll lay in the bed and you'll be like, okay, let me get on TikTok or
Hmm.
Instagram for
Yep.
just a hot minute. And then before you know it, like 3 hours done went by and you're like, let me go to bed. But then you'll go to sleep and then wake up, pick up your phone again and just,
Hmm.
it's a never ending cycle.
Yeah, it's a really bad habit, and sometimes I catch myself. Well,
Hmm.
I have to anyway to try to do better.
Yeah.
Um, I guess another thing that I've been doing for quite some time is is therapy. Like
Yeah.
I do have a therapist. I don't think it's. I think everybody needs somebody to talk
Hmm.
to sometimes. So I'm being transparent again. I do have a therapist that I
Hmm.
talk to monthly.
Hmm.
So whether things are good or whether things are kind of challenging, we still have that conversation, have that interaction. I find that helpful as well.
Yeah,
So.
same. And I most recently, I had a therapist too. I just ended it like a few months ago.
Hmm.
And I said it's time for me to, either go back to my therapist or find a new therapist. And I feel like that's a whole conversation within itself as far as like finding the right person for you. But I agree, like therapy is super
Hmm.
helpful because they provide you with tools and things you apply to the day-to-day life that you're like, okay, you know, my therapist said that when I start feeling this way, I need to do this activity. And you do it, and you're like, okay, that actually did help. So, you know, shout out to all the therapists out there.
Shout
Thank you.
out to the therapist.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you for all that you do for us. We appreciate it.
definitely. Um, you know what? I didn't get paid for this, but I have a book that I read also.
Is this the same book that you referenced in
Yes,
season one?
it is. This is my self love book. I'm telling y'all, this book, it helps me. It's like a workbook and it has like different activities. I know I utilize this because I work for a group home as well. And the young ladies that's at the group home, they're, 16 to 20. So they're at that age when um, they're dealing with a lot of pressure and
Hmm.
strain from society. They're trying to still figure out who they are. And this book helps a lot when we're having like our groups or if I need some activities. So shout out to this book that's on Amazon.
What's the name of the book, Tanya?
The book is Self Love Workbook for Women.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it goes into all the different aspects of loving yourself and what it is, what it means, and what it doesn't mean.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it really helpful. Has some cute activities and
I
stuff.
was about to ask, are there activities in there?
There are. There
Okay.
are. This is one that I usually do with them. I have them like create a heart and then write all the ways
Mm-hmm.
that they love on themselves
Yeah.
within their heart. And I make them pick one. Pick one that they're going to do on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if it's just standing in front of the mirror and saying something positive or encouraging to yourself. They have to pick something from off of that daily. So,
Okay. Nice. And I
yeah,
said I was going to buy it and I haven't yet, but
I haven't.
thank you for bringing it back up. So I'm going to
Yes.
purchase it, put it in my are we still shopping at Amazon?
Uh oh.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But I'm going to get it.
I don't know.
I'm going to get it from somewhere. Somewhere I'm
Hmm.
going to find it. So,
Yes. So I think we've talked enough.
dang, why you say it like that? But if that's your segue into our guest, yes, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back and we have Miss Sophia here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Here from So Fit for You Wellness.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
thank you.
So I guess we should just kind of jump into our conversation. So we're going to talk about like holistic care.
I love that.
So can you share with us what is that? What is that all about?
So I look at holistic wellness as being able to find and discover new ways or continual ways to take care of your whole self. And in doing that, one of the things that I like use as like my barometer for like if I'm doing this and when I'm making choices and making decisions is how can I set up myself to be comfortable being able to receive waves and waves of love, joy, creativity, and abundance without interruption. So, how do I set my life up for being in a place of receiving for that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so how long have you been doing this? I'm sorry. I'm just curious.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I have been into wellness, I would say my entire life. I started as a student athlete really
Okay.
young, 6 years old, very competitive. My father was big on like being my coach and then pushing me into like traveling teams and state ranked teams and things of that nature. But then I would also say that um, when you get older and you're like trying to navigate like who am I and what do I want to do that is outside of sports, and just like what job and like what subject do you like, I think it opened me up to more of like what is the power of the mind and what can the
Mhm.
mind do. So I
Mhm.
became a psychology major in college and then like studied criminology, anthropology, all the ologies, like give me those classes, that's what I
Mhm.
wanted. And then somewhere along the journey of graduating and working, actually in the area of criminal stuff that I still enjoy, and I was a big Criminal Minds fan growing up younger, and I still, went into that as a field. I was like, I still want to be in wellness and do business in that area. And
Mhm.
so just an idea of like, oh, you're supposed to have 7 streams of income. I was like, okay, well, let's make income, the other stream of income be something that centers wellness. And
Okay.
so that's why I brought in all of the mind part
Mhm.
of it because I think that's just what's interesting to me. And then as you get to study it, and then when I got my yoga teacher certification, that's just like that sealed the deal. Like, oh, okay, so mind is totally a part of this. Cool. I
Yeah.
can
Hmm.
carry on. Yeah.
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 And I'm glad you said that because I think when people think of holistic wellness, they always think of like mindfulness or mental health. But you mentioned yoga, so there are some physical like benefits to holistic wellness as well, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Movement is important. It's necessary. One of the things I tell as a personal trainer, so again, I have different aspects of my life and how I show up. One of the things I tell my clients when I'm doing personal training is that we will always focus on your functionality and your mobility.
Mhm.
I want you to be 75 years old, fall on the floor, and be able to get up
I
because it's
know that's
inevitable.
right.
You're going to fall.
Please,
I need you to
please.
get up. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think about it from literally that basic point
Mhm.
of like, that is a part of wellness. Like, how are you at a place of joy if you're not able to get up and take care of yourself? Like, once
Mhm.
we lose independence, even if it's temporary, right, due to an injury, but especially when we get older, you're losing a little piece of happiness because
Mhm.
you've lost that independence. And we see that, as we get older. And if you've ever been a caregiver for a family member, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I know in the beginning part of the segment we talked a lot about like mental health as well as physical health
Yes.
now. So now we're tying in like holistic care. So how can that help improve those areas?
Absolutely. So I would say that you putting them together. So from a physical perspective, right, with exercise, be it yoga, be it stretch therapy, be it resistance training, you are positioning yourself for lowering your stress levels because you're lowering your resting heart rate.
Okay.
You are working on cardiovascular things that therefore allow your heart to be better, to run better. And honestly, just the breathing, right? Just simple breathing techniques in yoga will allow you to become a person who knows how to kind of isolate from the distractions that are happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And, people look at meditation like it's very hard and that can be intimidating.
Yeah.
But there are different breathing techniques that you can do that I think will at least ease you and show you how do I allow myself to be more calm throughout the day with everything that's going on. Like, and this is like literally because you're trying to prepare yourself for the inevitable. Life will life.
Mm-hmm.
Adulting is the ghetto, so like
Yeah.
you have to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mental aspect of that holisticness is your choices and your mind, right? Your mind matters above all else. Whatever you dream, whatever you think, and whatever you imagine, those are the things that you can create. Sometimes we live in a space where we're like, well, if I don't see it, then I can't do it. But the first person who ever got that title of this was the first person to do this, they saw it somewhere in their head. And that's
Right.
why they're the first. And
Yeah.
so you shouldn't always have to see it, and then we talk about like the spiritual part of it if you want to from a aspect of like faith, right? Faith is understanding the things that are unseen and unheard. And
Right.
so yeah, I feel like all of those things go into that holistic approach that I was saying about allowing yourself to be in a place of receiving the love, the joy, the creativity, the abundance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the mind and body experience. To me, that's how I see them. I marry them in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's a lot of things involved when you think about this holistic like wellness approach. And for somebody or for people who are new to this, like what are some techniques or what are some I guess things that they can do? Cuz I know for me like the most common things you hear about is, you know, um yoga, uh I guess the sound baths.
Yeah, sound about.
That's a popular thing. You also hear about
And I'm
like deep
unfamiliar with that
breathing.
sound bath. Oh yeah, we can talk about it.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Yeah,
so many where I feel like it can be overwhelming at times. So I mean, I guess like I said, for someone who's new to this, like how can you even like first like approach it? Like should you do yoga first or does it matter?
absolutely. Love the question. I'll make sure I talk about sound
Mm-hmm.
baths. So the idea behind the name So Fit for You Wellness is I've always approached things in a way of like I want this to be specific to this person and fit for this person. I used to have an overnight job,
Mhm.
as well as being an athlete, so my schedule was just like horrible, right? And so if you we didn't have YouTube and all that stuff back then, but let's just say there was some YouTube, some influencer, right? They would have showed me some type of schedule, and it's like, baby, that's the only sleep hours I got.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you give me that, I can't do it, and now I feel like lost. Like, oh,
Mhm.
I'll never be this wellness person. And so that's why I came into the idea of like, for my friends at the time when I started my business, we were all working overnight. How can we eat better? Because we were eating whatever. We had to go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like our life started at midnight.
Right.
We were eating horrible and I didn't want to because at the time I was doing bodybuilding. So I was like, okay, I have to figure out what works for my schedule. And that's kind of what pushed me. And so you can start with little things, journaling.
Mhm.
If you're a writer, right?
Mhm.
Say you're not a writer. Then you could start with breathing
Mhm.
techniques because maybe you're just like, look, I just need to sit. I just need to find a way to calm myself, to quiet, from my children, or just, whatever life things are happening. You also can do exercise, of course. So any exercise, resistance training, everyone should do resistance training. I know that weightlifting
Yeah.
sounds like very intimidating, but that is the part that actually strengthens our bones throughout the process to make sure that when we get older, we're still standing straight up instead of having the little curls and stuff.
Mhm.
Yoga, of course, stretching the body, allowing the oxygen to come in. You can do simple things like writing a love note to yourself
Mhm.
every day. You can find a new recipe that you want to try. Go to the grocery store and try that new recipe. Like it's literally one of those things where it's just like how we hear the term and sometimes some people say it's overdrawn, but self-care, like It is literally that. How
Yeah.
are you consistently, and I think that's where the part comes in. What just one little consistent thing are you doing to care for yourself? And then that literally is the beginning of you starting a wellness journey. But the consistency of it. I'm choosing every single day or every single Tuesday or every Friday and Tuesday
Yeah.
to do this one thing for myself, and that will open the floodgates to so many other things.
Yeah. And that's good to know,
Yeah.
because it doesn't have to look a certain type of way. Like it's whatever you want it to be. As far as, like you said, just waking up in the morning and just doing that one thing consistently when you first wake up. So,
Yeah.
I think it's for me, it's the consistency piece. I usually start out strong and I'll be gung ho like, yes, I'm going to do this. And then the intention kind of fades. So I'm glad you said some of those things. I do need to incorporate some of those things and just be more consistent.
And drop the guilt behind having a not so great week.
yeah.
Drop the value of this is good or this is bad. Like, I don't look at things, or at least I try all the time. Whenever I hear myself say this is good or this is bad, I'm like, no, no, no. There's good, there's better, there's best. There's good days, there's more difficult season days. Like this week was, I mean, ridiculously busy. There's nothing I could do to escape, all the different things that were, asked. And what that means is that I may say I work out every Tuesday and Friday morning for 45 minutes. That's my norm. But this Tuesday I only have 20 minutes to give. That's good. I did a little something every day. And that's why I always try to say like little one thing. Just find that thing and let it inspire you. Like I literally was doing a juice cleanse for entirely too long. We won't talk about it. But a friend of mine while I was doing this was like, "Oh, let me try one of your juices." He tried it and then someone else came to him and was like, "Hey, we should do a juice challenge." He was like, "Oh, that sounds dope," because my friend, she was drinking juices a couple weeks ago. They tasted good, and so I could do it. He did this juice challenge with friends for 20 days.
Okay.
Now he juices all the time, every single day, just because in changing to just doing the juicing, he felt more inspired and excited about it. One, the community of friends. Two, he lost 15 pounds.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, just try that little thing and then like kind of note to yourself, how do you feel different about it? There's a 5-minute gratitude journal I will buy for like any person who's like, oh, I'm just so stressed out and depression. I haven't figured it out. And it's literally this little journal. It has like 4 questions on it. You can do it in 5 minutes. And that's why it's called the 5-minute journal. Every single day.
Wow.
You're basically just, at the end of the day is what the book suggests. You're writing down what you're grateful for that happened to you in the day. And so for someone who's like, well, I can't journal. Well, that is journaling. They asked you a question. You answered the question. You just journaled.
And that's huge because I think for me, that was one thing that, especially like you said, when you have moments where you're feeling like down or just frustrated with life, like just giving yourself grace and just being appreciative and thankful, showing gratitude for all of the good things that has happened like many times. And while I didn't write it down, which I want to do better, like it's encouraged me to keep going because I'm like, okay, maybe, this week or today things didn't work out the way I hoped. But I am thankful because look at all this other stuff that happened or all this other stuff that I was, blessed to be able to do. So I'm thankful. So I'm going to keep going, because things are going to get better.
Yeah. And when we think about the emotional frequency chart, so I know I'm throwing out a whole bunch of terms and feel free to like look them all up and things. But when you think about the emotional frequency chart, gratitude is the opener for the one that takes you to the higher vibrational frequencies. So literally, if we just stay in a place of gratitude, it allows you to be at a place of welcoming for whatever it is that's, coming your way.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Yeah. I think you said you'll say something about sound bathing.
Yes. So
Sunbathing?
sound bathing frequency. So I'm glad I said the emotional frequency chart. It's one of the things that
Okay.
I use on a daily basis. Sound baths have frequency, just like sound, right? You pat a drum, or like when you're dancing, you hear like that beat under your feet. The vibrational frequency that comes from the different instruments is what I would call them. there's like a rain one that literally sounds like water. It's a tube and you turn it up and down and it sounds
Okay.
like water is going through it.
Yeah.
There's an actual drum, which I feel like all of us have seen at some point in life, you know, like the white, like, I don't know if it's lambskin or something on it, but like that kind of drum. Crystal bowls, people you've seen, I think most recently, they're like white, sometimes shaped this way, and you'll see like a stick.
Oh, yeah,
The person's playing like a stick around
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Then you have like the smaller ones, the Tibetan bowls. You can hold it in your hand. You just got to make sure you hold it a certain way so that the frequency, the vibration of it as you spin around,
Okay.
it creates a sound. Those sound waves hold a frequency, like all musical instruments hold a frequency,
Okay.
but the way in which they are used is that frequency then connects to the vibrational energy within your body. So if you're just resting and laying, your heart is a frequency. If I play another instrument at a certain frequency, it will do a certain thing to your heart. So think of it in that type of way.
Wow.
And
okay.
that change of flow is just something that you can kind of feel in the body for calmness. And so it's the same as like, I don't know, listening to lo-fi. Some people listen to lo-fi music on YouTube when they're working because it helps them focus better, or someone who likes classical music because it helps them focus. It's in that same family of there is a sound frequency that therefore can affect how you feel. However, with sound bath, it is an intentional class or session where someone is intentionally using these specific instruments at a certain volume and frequency for rest. And I personally have loved it. I've had moments where like I've done a retreat and I bring in someone to do sound bath and like people start crying from it, just from the emotions that they're feeling. I particularly still go to sleep to it. It's been 3 years strong and I turn on a sound bath in order for me to fall asleep. It really helps to just literally just calm you. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't taken a sound bath class, but I see it everywhere. And I was like, I want to do it. And I'm like, because for me, I sleep, I need like some type of white noise in the background. So I'm like, maybe I should try sound bath because I feel like it'll be beneficial for me some kind of way. But
I think it is.
it is.
Yeah, I think it is. But I also like, remember I said like everything works for each person? Like I became a stretch therapist just because yoga wasn't something that everyone could do if they already had like injuries. So it was like, okay, let's find something else that someone can do that would stretch their body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if sound baths works for you, for real, try it out. But definitely look for a class. I think
Yeah.
they're totally amazing.
And I know we're going to get into yoga next, but let me start off. So I'm not even going to say I'm a fake yogi. I'm a beginner yogi, and I've been in this beginner phase for like 5 years. Yoga is no joke. Like, it's levels to it. And I learned that real quick. I'm like, oh, yeah, I could go in here and be fine or not be consistent and show up for a yoga class and be fine. Mm-mm. No, I was humbled real quick. But it's great. It's great. If you're consistent and you do it all the time, like I noticed so many changes like in my body and how I feel. And then like the yoga studios that I've gone to, there's like different types of yoga
Yes.
that I have no clue about. And I'm like, well, this class sounds good based on the description. I don't know what any of these words mean, but I'm going to go. And people really love it. And so I appreciate spaces where the people in the class look like me. So I tend to go to a lot of those studios. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree.
It's wonderful. So
Yeah, I always tell people there are different forms of yoga. So like when someone hires me, I'm like, oh, what do you want? Like, do you know what your audience is needing? How old are they? What are their abilities? Because the different forms of yoga do change. How does it feel in someone's body? It changes the pace of the flow. It changes the positions that you'll do and even how long you'll do them. Like one of my really good girlfriends, she loves yin. That's her thing. And I am like anti holding a posture for 6 rounds of breath up to 30, like up to 3 minutes. Like throw me out, you know? But if that's the calling, that's fine.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. So do we want to get into the yoga demonstration?
I think we should.
Okay, yes. So for those who are audio, I am going to cue it the entire time, but also for those who are visual, you will see me move in that. And so we're just going to do some simple chair yoga since we are here and we are seated. And one of the things that is always good in foundation to remember, if you are sitting in just rest and breathing, you have already started yoga. So we'll start there, taking a deep breath in and exhaling out. Inhaling in and exhale out. Excellent. On the inhale, you're going to take the chin, lift it up towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, take that chin, bring it back down towards the chest. Good. Inhale that chin up. Exhale, release the chin down. Good. Inhale, coming back to center. Imagine the string coming out of your head. You just want to make sure that your spine is lifted up, the shoulders fall down away from the ears. On an inhale, you're going to take that right ear, bring it down towards your right shoulder. Good. On the exhale, let the chin come down towards the chest. Inhale as that left ear goes towards the left shoulder. And then exhale as you're opening up the throat chakra and the chin comes towards the ceiling. Again, allow yourself to go into that nice circular motion. You're inhaling as your chin comes up, and you're exhaling as your chin comes down at your own pace. Thinking about balance, make sure that you allow your head to go in the opposite direction. Same thing. Inhale as the chin comes up towards the ceiling. Exhale as your chin comes down towards the chest. Slowly allow yourself to come to a place of stillness. Again, imagining that cord is coming out of the top of your head, slightly lifting the chin up, making sure that the shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Good. This time on the inhale, we're going to take our shoulder blades, we're going to pinch them back behind us, opening up the chest, allowing that chest to spread. On the exhale, you're going to tuck those shoulders back forward, allowing the chin to dip down. Inhale, taking the shoulder blades back behind you, opening up that chest. Exhale, rolling the shoulders forward, letting the chin fall, cupping the body. Good. Inhale one more time, taking it back, lifting the chin up. Exhale, allowing that chin to fall down as you roll the shoulders forward. Good. Slowly taking one of the legs. It doesn't matter which one. We have two sides of the body. We do everything twice. You're going to cross it over your knee. So that ankle is going to come over the knee. For any person that this might be uncomfortable for, a modified way of doing this is just taking that ankle and crossing it over the other ankle down towards the ground. With your ankle crossed over your leg, you're going to allow yourself to twist. So on the inhale, and then followed by your exhale, you're going to twist towards where your knee is up. So just twist towards whichever side of your body is open. Good. Take a deep breath in. You're going to lengthen the spine. Imagine that string is pulling you up. On the exhale, you're going to then look over the shoulder that is to that same side. Good. Inhale, coming back towards the center of your own body. And then exhale, you let the leg come down. Good. So we're going to do opposite ankle over the opposite leg. We're going to do the same thing. We're twisting that spine. So you're going to take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, turn towards the knee that is up. Good. Inhale in. You're going to lift that spine up again. Let the shoulders fall down. And on the exhale, you're going to turn the body just a little bit more to look over the shoulder. Good. Take a deep breath in. And come back towards your center body. We do everything twice. You're going to take that leg back down. You're going to take that right ankle, bring it back over that leg. Excellent. Deep breath in. Imagine that string coming out of the head. On the exhale, you're going to go ahead and turn towards the knee that is up. Excellent. Taking a deep breath in, lengthening the spine, and exhale, turn a little bit more over that shoulder. Good. Take a deep breath in. You're going to come back towards center of the body. Exhale, release the leg down. And we're going to go ahead and switch it to the opposite side. Excellent. So ankle comes over the thigh. Deep breath in, lengthening the spine. Exhale, turning towards the knee that's up. Inhale, lengthening the spine again. Exhale, turning towards and over the shoulder. Good. Inhale, coming back towards center body. Exhale, letting the legs come down. Excellent. And then here you can just extend the legs out. Inhale, you're going to bring those toes towards your kneecaps. Exhale, let those toes bend out. Inhale, bring those toes back towards the kneecaps. Exhale, take those toes out. Inhale, bring those toes in. Exhale, take it out. Excellent. And so it's gently just moving the body, flowing with the inhales and the exhales. Your inhale is what you want to do as you're ever like lifting yourself up or opening up yourself because you're bringing in as much air as possible. So you want to create that space. And the exhale is something that you do when you're like closing things off because you're pushing everything out.
Mm-hmm. That was great.
That was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was
Good.
really, really, really great.
So does that mean you're gonna do yoga more, Tanya?
I need to. Listen, I've learned a whole lot this evening. I'm serious. Some things that I need to try at least. Right.
Yeah.
So, did you have anything? I know some people like they always talk about mindfulness and talk about
Yes.
breathing techniques. Did you have any quick breathing techniques that you may can share?
Absolutely. So the one that you would hear about often or at some point is box breathing.
Okay.
I also think it's the one that's the easiest to get someone into easing into meditation. So I like to offer it. And so box breathing is 4-4-4. I do 4-4s. It's 4-4. So it's 4-4s. So you're inhaling for a count of 4. So it'll be inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. That hold is not holding your breath. So you're just like resting yourself. So hold 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then you exhale 2, 3, 4. And then hold 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
The reason I say it's like an ease into meditation as well is you can do the visual. So you can also start off by imagining your eyes or imagining like a little ball moving around a box, and you inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. And so on the inhale, the ball's moving up. On the hold, it's moving across the box. The exhale, it moves down the box, and then you hold again and it moves across. And so for some people that start to think about the grocery list, the to-do list, whatever, it's like, okay, well, let's change that. Think about this ball moving across the box and allow yourself to do that. It also is an easier count than having to remember a bunch of different numbers because it's 4, 4, 4, 4.
Right.
So you're allowing yourself to just like, yep, and you see we're all in sync together because it's real simple. Yeah, so I love that one. It's very easy. It is for calming yourself and bringing yourself to a place of just stillness and lower resting heart rate. So it's like if you're in the middle of like an argument or you get like a crazy email or just something that makes you want to like, kind of, what was it? Fight, fear, whatever, the one that makes you want to fight. That's the one you want to do. You want to do that box breathing so that you don't fight. Yeah.
Okay.
That
Awesome.
was helpful.
Yeah.
So, if people want to follow you,
Yeah.
how can they do so? Or do you have any upcoming events where people can participate with you?
Absolutely. So actually this Saturday is my grand opening. So I'm opening up my stretch studio. Thank you. Super excited. So that will be from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Atlanta, Maryland, 9332 Annapolis Road. Atlanta, Maryland is where my studio is. And I will be offering free 20-minute stretches all day, like an open house.
Okay.
I know stretch therapy is new to people, and so I just wanted to find a way to introduce myself to the community as well as introduce stretch therapy, to whomever. I would also say for my yoga classes, because I am usually hired to do yoga in public spaces, sometimes for like private conferences or like corporate like engagements. But any yoga class that I'm teaching, you can follow me on Instagram at Sophia Sophia Lorin Lorin on Instagram and Facebook, and that's where I post everything anytime I have a class or someone's flyer and things of that nature. And then of course if you subscribe to my website www.sophit.net, when you subscribe to the website you will get everything that I'm doing because I send out an email once a month and not often at all to let people know what's going on. It also includes like any specials, so like discounts for the stretch studio or anything like that. So those are the ways to follow me. Those are upcoming things as far as like what is public and open. I do have 2 yoga classes coming up, but those are for organizations, so they're not public and open at this time. Yeah.
Nice. You have a lot of great things that's happening. So, of course, as we wrap up today, thank you so much for coming in, telling us about you, about your business, about your offerings. We really appreciate it. We definitely encourage all of our listeners to please please follow Sophia. Please go to her website. Please go to her upcoming events. Anything else you want to add, Tanya, to
Nah,
close us out?
you can close this out.
Well, that is the end of our first episode of season 2. Thank you again for joining us. Until the next time, thanks.